Hello everybody, welcome to another deck tech, specifically a deck tech, now that Echoes of Eternity is live. So we are going to be doing some brand new cards today. I tried to keep this one cheaper. I have a lot of Shiftstone and a lot of gold, and I tend to make decks that are a little bit expensive because I can just kind of build whatever I want. But I tried to be at least a little bit more budget focused on this one. So I have a legend and two new rares. So Strange Burglar and Trying to Karvet. And besides that, all of it is commons. And what we're doing is there are a lot of very strong sacrifice themes in the new set. And there are very strong stranger themes in the new set. And we are smacking those together. So we're going to try and do a little aggro stranger sacrifice deck here. So interesting cards that have coming up. Like I said, a lot of them are commons. Big things are Covetous Stranger is kind of nice, just as another stranger for us to just be low to the ground but have late game plans, so we can kind of just keep digging through our deck, right? As we get treasure troves, then that matters. We have Fanatical Stranger is another stranger common that whenever a stranger is attacked, plays a 1/1 cultist. Helps us a lot for sacrifice fodder, and also to just be more aggressive on our opponents. And then some of the other commons that I added were Urgent Missive. Now, after that, so Urgent Missive is just another way to sacrifice and get a bunch of cultists. Now, why are we trying to do all the sacrifice stuff? Well, really, it's because of a couple of rares and legends, which is what we built the whole deck around, which is Trying to Karvet, which is the reason why we're more aggro focused. So whenever we've sacrificed, our units will have +2 charge and lifesteal. Interesting to note, it's not units in play at the time that you sacrifice. They get charge. If you've got stuff in hand, you can sacrifice something, play a bunch of units, they have charge, attack, go ahead. Also interesting to note, though, is that this doesn't stack, therefore. So, like, you can't sacrifice 3 things in a turn and get +6 on the attack. That's not the way it works. You only get +2. So something to keep in mind, but still a very powerful effect. Very interesting one. We also have the other big one that's kind of fun for me. This is the reason why I have one legend, is Kato, Arena Herald. It's not a stranger. It's not really like a sacrifice card in a way, but I mean, man, this card just seems so fun. And we're able to build up a lot of cards in our void very quickly by just attacking into our opponent over and over and over, throwing units away, sacrificing them, just being super aggressive. And getting an 8/8 giant is amazing on a 2-drop. Even just as like 2-drop, play a 0/1 totemite, and then when it dies, you get to do it again, is really good value for this style of deck. Like, I'm normally used to playing things like, what's it called? Sparkcatcher, which is the 2/1 Grenadin with Entomb that makes a 1/1 Grenadin. And this is that, but probably a little bit better, because it already makes the unit right away. It does have a worse unit, like it's not a 1/1 attached to it, but you get one right away, and then you have the opportunity to do another one afterwards. So you're getting 2 units instead of just the 1/1. And then, of course, the upside is you might just actually get an 8/8, and that's not that hard to do when you're pretty focused on sacrificing, making a whole lot of tokens, and just keep smashing. So a fun little card for sure. We have Strange Burglar as well as kind of the last rare to round this out, and it does, again, plays really well with all these themes. So whenever we play a stranger, our units get +1. Great, we're making a lot of units, so we want to be aggressive. Perfect, just jams right in with that. We've got a bunch of different strangers too, so that's all excellent. You can tell, like, the synergy between that and Fanatical Stranger is huge. Whenever strangers attack, we get a 1/1. And then the pay 2, exhaust it, sacrifice another unit, draw 3 cards, and take 3 damage. I mean, 3 damage is a lot to deal yourself in the face, but 3 cards is insane. And it's a nice repeatable sacrifice effect for Trying to Karvet, so I'm pretty interested to try that out as well. I've been playing a few games of this, and it's been pretty good so far. Obviously, kind of the rest of what we have rounding this out is kind of typical. We've got Ruthless Stranger because, again, better attack, a little bit more aggressive. We want Grenadin drones to just kind of fill up our board. We've got the Urgent Missive, like we said, to just keep filling up our board. We've got a couple of Annihilates to try and do some removal beyond just Combust, so just a little bit of extra removal here for us. I'm not certain if I want Annihilates or if I should be playing Assembly Line. Get more 1/1s out. Hard to say. A couple of Seek Powers to fix ourselves. The Madness, because then we've got the Combust, we've got the Strange Burglar, so a couple of ways to sacrifice it. Figure that it's not bad to have some Madness. We have, from our market, we also have a couple of little things. So we want to be able to draw those Shrine to Karvets right away. Make sure that we have one of those in the market. We want to make sure that if we have a Madness, we have a Combust or a Strange Burglar to go with it. So we put a Combust in the market. And it's also just nice, even if we don't have a Madness, sometimes you need to get something out of the way, so having removal in your market is a good idea. We've got some late game value if we run out. We can just go for a Scraptank or a Bloodrite Kalis to do that big one-punch shot kind of thing that we might need. It can add a lot to a turn to get a Bloodrite Kalis and just slam them in the face for an extra 10, 12 damage or something, right? And then have a weapon to back it up afterwards. And then Boar, in case they have something like Avagraft and they're getting drones, just things like that. Kind of a pain in the butt remover. Then we have, in the power, we did put a little bit of units in our power. We've got an Emblem of Shavka, an Emblem of Makkar. I'm just kind of testing these out to see if I'd want to have more, or if I like Emblem of Shavka over Makkar, just kind of fiddling around with those. These are numbers that you'll definitely want to change. You won't want to change the Granite Waystones, I'm pretty sure. You want to be able to make sure that you're getting little extra 1/1s. And this one doesn't come into play depleted, it doesn't hit you for anything, so I find Granite Waystone to be pretty useful that way. Does mean that you can't play seats, but that's okay. We've got 28 units. We're going to play banners. I think that's okay too. So trying out a couple of different things there. You might want to shift out some of the numbers, like I said, Annihilates. Maybe you want to try and fit in some assembly lines. I feel like the emblems can definitely be moved around, but I'm just trying to test them a little bit right now. So just talking about like what you might want to change later. You might need to add more Seek Power, or if you're finding that you just have too much power, you can take out some of them and just do that instead. Might not be a bad idea there either. We do have a very low curve, so you don't need a lot of power, but we're running some emblems. And we have a lot of ways to draw cards. We've got Devours, we have Strange Burglar, so we've got a bunch of ways, and we have all the treasure troves from Covetous Stranger, so we do kind of have some power sinks as well. So I've tested this a bit, but you're going to do a lot of testing on your own if you pick up a deck like this, and you're probably going to want to fine-tune it a lot and just kind of be like, okay, well, everybody's playing units that are 2 colors, we don't really need Annihilates, we want to put in Desecrate, or I just haven't found that I've needed removal at all, but I need more sacrifice things, and then you just want to jam some more assembly lines or things like that. So you'll want to shift all these numbers around just kind of based on what you're seeing in your own personal meta, and just how things evolve over time. Alright, but that's a quick rundown on kind of some of the changes you might want to make, what we're running with, testing some of the things out, seeing what we'd like to see out of the deck, and we're going to jump into some games. Let's go.